But tonight we have Emily Hamilton on with us, and she's going to be talking about a program that she is running. So, but Emily is here. She's going to talk about all that stuff. And first, I'm going to get some sharing out of the way. But I don't know, how's everyone feeling after the fun election we had?
Oh gosh, I'm so glad racism's over.
I'm just happy to start, I guess, in a new direction for the next 4 years. It changes every 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, every 4 or 8.
yeah,
It does.
I don't know, that gal, that 22-year-old who gave that poem, it was just a beautiful poem, I felt.
I
don't know if you've
I
heard
didn't
about
watch
the
any of it.
poem.
I had other things going on, so I wasn't. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I didn't watch it
watch
either, but I just caught bits and pieces. I had to work. I saw the fireworks show afterwards, last night, I guess. That
Yeah.
was cool.
It turned out pretty good.
It was just like a concert. You know how we haven't been able to go to concerts in like however many months. So it was cool just to see some artists get together. And the
Was
fireworks
there-
show was amazing, just over the mall and DC community there.
Was there a lot of people there, or?
I see, and that's the thing. I just thought like later on the news, I didn't really
Uh-huh.
see, or just like the program. I got off work again late. I get off work pretty late most nights, but it was just pretty. You know, I was just throwing it on in the background. So
I know. I asked Chris Stewart for some tickets to go to the inauguration, and he's like, "I got one, and I'm using it."
oh wow, well,
Like,
that's good.
you go, bro. You go.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's I don't know. It is what it is. I am not. I don't know. There has been some. Like, he shut down the Keystone Pipeline. I don't know how people feel about that, but that's an elimination of like 10,000 jobs overnight. That scares me. It scares me what our gas prices are going to look like over the next little while.
I just drove by the Walmart, and I think the price went up since yesterday.
What was it?
I remember it was like $2.09 or something like that yesterday, and I think it was two teens something today.
Yeah, a fluctuation like that's not too bad.
Mhm.
I'm worried about touching that $4 gas again. But anyways, we digress. So Emily's in here. So Emily, have a look at the camera so everyone can see you and
hello.
smile, and pull the microphone up to your face.
Got it.
Okay, so Emily runs an outreach program for the Utah State University Extension down here and 4-H. It's like I don't know, maybe 4-H is through the Utah State University, or
Yeah, they are in conjunction. So basically, if you can think of something,
get that mic in a little bit closer.
if you can think of something that you want to learn about, your local extension offices around the great United States is a way to help you become more knowledgeable in anything. They have assistant professors willing to teach you anything you want to know about. For instance, I just started the Master Gardeners program last night. They run it every few months. And then that way I can just educate myself and then educate others in the community, something that just kind of I like to dabble in but want to know more about. So there's that. They have agriculture clubs for a lot of my friends are into goat showing and raising goats. So there's that side of things. So really anything you want to do. I, for one, oversee a few grants over on the health and wellness side of the extension. My educational background is in health education and promotion. And so not only do I have that aspect of the Utah State, Tooele County Health and Wellness Extension Office, I also am the mentoring coordinator for Tooele County. And so with that, I'm running 2 youth programs. and it's awesome fun. We have the most amazing mentors in our program. I can't even tell you.
So, what are the mentors? What does it
Okay.
take for someone to be a mentor?
So, with our one after school program,
Now, this is program geared towards youth, right?
it is,
Towards
yep,
junior high school age kids, or is
Yep.
there?
So anywhere from fourth grade to eighth grade. The high
Okay, so junior high age students.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
We recruit our mentors, our high school mentors, through all the surrounding high schools in the county. So anywhere from, say, freshman year to senior year, right? And you asked what it takes to become a mentor. We typically get recommendations from counseling staff. This year's group of mentors actually were a lot of word of mouth from mentors who exited the program last year.
So as they were leaving, they were like, "Hey, my little brother or cousin or friend or neighbor is, would be good for this position."
Absolutely. These mentors dedicate themselves selflessly every week to their little mentees that are in the junior high
Mentees.
Yep, little. Some
I like
I
it.
know that I've
Sounds-
heard that just from a movie I once watched, the bigs or littles, or it's kind of like Big Brothers, Big Sisters. But these youth mentors literally are scholastically driven, into sports, and then just other aspects of our community. Just, and they're still holding part-time jobs while maintaining their grades and doing sports, high-end athletics. So
What about kids that are homeschooled? Do they have the opportunity to provide anything towards this kind of a program?
So it's actually really phenomenal that you asked that question. So with COVID, we've had several barriers, and we've overcome every single one of them. So some of the kids that are homeschooled, so our program, I guess, I could probably just tell you how our programs kind of run. We teach a lesson based off of the Health Rocks curriculum. It's nationally science-based, evidence and proven to help youth become resilient and more affluent to resist peer pressure, just become almost better humans in our community. And with that mentoring relationship with the youth, because the youth look up to these guys, it really sets that precedence of just setting the tone for following a good path, basically.
So you're trying to line younger kids up with a role model that'd be a positive one, not one that's gonna pick them up in their their Camaro and take them out to smoke the marijuana.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely not. We deter that type of behavior, obviously. And actually, just because there is such a thing as pedophilia, we don't, obviously ever allow any of the youth to be alone with the children.
So the mentoring program's in-house.
Yep, it's in-house or
Okay.
online e-mentoring. So we have our weekly lesson geared towards reducing peer pressure, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, those kinds of things. And then we usually do an activity, whether it's a craft, a service learning project in our community, different things as a group to just promote fun. And not just say no to drugs. We want to just have fun too. So there's that aspect. And we also have usually a healthy snack or those kinds of things to also teach healthy eating habits and to healthy lifestyles along those lines.
So on average, what type of student are you getting involved? Are you getting are the at-risk students coming in, or?
We have all walks of life. We have everyone in our program from divorced parents to hardworking parents, middle class, wealthy, minimum wage. We have all, no one is excluded from our program because no one's excluded from being targeted for substance use or mental health issues or emotional health.
But there must be a cap. I mean, you can't take in everyone.
So sadly, with our grant writing, so we write grants to get funding for our programs, so hence the free programming for these youth. And so that is true. I can only pair through my grant writing a certain amount of youth per mentor, and then I can only have a certain number of people in my club. So once that's full, I sadly can't take any more people just because I don't have the people to support it. And obviously, with my grant funding, I have to report back to our funders. And so that way it shows where the money's going. You know, everything's accrued and accounted for.
So how many mentors do you currently have?
So first off, it's January across our Sweet Nation is National Mentor Month. So I just want to throw that out there. So congratulations to all our mentors across our great nation. So right now I have currently 14 mentors and 2 youth programs.
Okay. How many mentees can you have per mentor?
So in my Health Rocks curriculum, we cut off the mentee numbers at 30, and then I have 8 mentors in that program.
Okay. And that Health Rocks, is that what is that geared around?
So Health Rocks, the grant is written from a China Justice Reinvestment Act angle to service Tooele County's kind of sadly national staggering drug abuse, substance abuse numbers in the nation. So that way we can obviously create prevention. All these programs are based on a prevention aspect. Because once obviously kids are using substances, then you're at a intervention stage.
It's a different animal that needs to come in.
Exactly. Then. So sadly, Tooele County qualifies. It beats national averages on substance use within youth. The school district does a SHARP survey every year. Well, I shouldn't say every year. It's every 2 years with 6th, 8th, 10th, and seniors. And so we can project trends. And then that's what we base a lot of our data off of to obviously write for these grant funding opportunities to help young kids in the community. But it gets back to we want to just have a good relationships and build good relationships, which hopefully is a good positive deterrent for future substance use or those kinds of things, and obviously relationship building. So then that way kids can identify positive people, not the pedophiles, not the marijuana smokers, not the drug dealers who are going to bully or those kinds of things. So a lot of self-resiliency techniques that are being taught within our club for the year. So that's Health Rocks. Prevention Pals is a different situation.
Prevention Pals?
Prevention Pals is for my littler guys.
So that's for littler guys?
So my 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. So Health Rocks is geared towards 7th and 8th graders. And my mentors for that program are juniors and seniors in high school. And the reason why we paired them up that way is because on a psychological level, it makes sense. The youth who are juniors and seniors in high school are at a different
and they never met in any of the other schools prior to that?
No, not necessarily. Okay. We do have some family members who are kind of paired up. So like a...
Well, yeah that's fine. Fun. But yeah. I mean, you know, that way the mentor looks like a mentor, not like, I knew you last year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't have any return mentors last year because all of my mentors were outgoing seniors. But this year, I'll have some that will be, so some of my 8th graders now going into the high school next year. It'll be nice because then they will have a connection with some of the seniors next year, right? So they can, you know, maybe feel less stress going into the high school in that kind of, I'm just a small fish in a big pond situation.
And it might even help out those seniors who were a mentor if they're starting to feel pressure at that age to know that someone's looking up to them.
Oh, absolutely. Keep them on the straight and narrow in that sense too. I completely agree. But honestly, I can probably 100% that these kids were probably going very big places. They're really just amazing members of the community already. I'm so proud. A lot of them already have scholarships to colleges.
That's
or
cool.
Yeah, like it's amazing. These kids
And this is
are-
stuff they can put on their
absolutely.
transcripts and
Especially
other
for
stuff.
applying for colleges.
Oh, well,
this is a big
that's
deal.
That's absolutely a big deal because colleges aren't just looking at your scholastic achievements anymore. They want to know what kind of community involvement you're doing, and so it shows. Yeah, so that's actually it shows
Also, when
dependability.
they go get a job,
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting down. It's a leadership role.
Exactly. I've written actually quite a few already just college applicants, like just letters of recommendation for these youth, just because it's such an amazing service they're providing.
Who's writing your grants to ensure that this program stays funded?
So I help write the grants. I help co-write the grants. My boss, Dr. Marin Wright Voss, she's absolutely just a phenomenal resource and boss. I can't even say anything more positive about her. She's amazing. So we just get the guidelines basically for the grant funding, and then and I shouldn't actually even say that too. The one overseeing Health Rocks is Craig Dart. He was a longtime Tooele resident. He grew up here actually. But he wrote the Health Rocks grant, and then we've actually been the original one, and then we've written, Marin and I have written the last two. So for Health Rocks and Prevention Pals.
How involved, how complicated, how in depth is grant writing?
Oh my goodness, you guys, it is very in depth. Like I was telling you, everything has to be accrued for. Everything has to be reported. The time spent with these youth, the mentors with the mentees, every cent. And then there's a timeline for that, right? So we have to make sure we fulfill our grant obligations with what we say it's almost like a contractual, obligation that you're signing into, saying you're going to give us this much money so we can fulfill these agreements with you. But honestly, it's just an amazing service. And once you kind of have it done, then you get in the groove of it. So it's not as horrible doing the quarterly reporting as it is. It's just a matter of a waiting game too. You never know if they're going to give you the full funding, partial funding. It just depends. And so on the different grants you write for.
Now, can you take donations from?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So it was last year. It was amazing. Melanie Herring. I don't know if you guys remember her through the community, but she and her husband were one of the first people with COVID and stuck on a ship out in the middle of the nowhere, China or Japan. I couldn't remember. I think it was Japan. She was so sweet to donate Christmas presents to the kids in these clubs, and donated a bowling day for the kids in the community. So yeah, if people want to donate money, that would be fantastic. It's awesome. It just helps us provide more things for the kids to do. With some of our grant funding, we write in a family night out event. So each quarter, I actually we incorporate the families to come join us in a family activity. And so last quarter we were probably one of the last before the other next soft shutdown to have a big pool party at Pratt Aquatic Center. We rented out the space for the kids and the families to come, and
parents.
Yeah,
and the siblings.
exactly. And so, I mean, obviously there's really good advocation for eating dinner with your kids every night to reduce substance use, and it's a great way to communicate.
Well, it's a bond.
Oh, absolutely.
You build a huge bond when you eat dinner with your children.
I agree. And so that's something we have to do and it's just fun. The kids have fun, the parents have fun. It's nice for them to see the mentor relationship that their kids have with these mentors too, you know. And so they really see the value in putting, I mean, that's free, you know, you have to sign up your kid for 4-H, and that's basically it. And then I'll just email you the link to Zoom, or you come and we'll have our weekly
So
lesson.
some of your lessons can be completed over Zoom.
Yep.
If you're maybe in a complicated situation and can't gather around people, or the child can't make it there, they can Zoom in and do it conference wise.
Exactly. So actually my Prevention Pals program's just online e-mentoring. So I already have my mentors within the community. I'm still building those mentors because I have a lot more room for Prevention Pals. Health Rocks were shut down for enrollment, again, just because we want to establish that relationship. But Prevention Pals, actually, I don't know if you want me to discuss how the grant funding became available for that option. But
Yeah, I think that's an important topic because
Yeah.
other people might want to do programs.
Yeah.
But you know what? The process of grant writing has destroyed most people's hopes and dreams of trying to do stuff like that. The people that can endure through the grant writing and actually make it happen, they're special people, I'll tell you that.
So I think it was like my senior year in college that I had to do a bunch of different grant writing, and it is very detailed and there's a big process to it. But I mean, that sets it, I guess, it just sets that precedent of this is what it takes to get some of these things funded, right? So for Prevention Pals, the Department of Health and Human Services, Utah State Department of Health and Human Services, had an excess of funding for prevention in different counties of the state that they needed to use. So they decided to allot a certain amount to different counties.
Prevention as in drugs.
Yeah, prevention as in every aspect. I mean, it could be even pornography, but mostly
Yeah.
substance abuse, you know, child,
Well,
all of
substance
that.
is clear and in your face, though pornography is obviously a huge deal. Violence is another one.
Yeah. So bullying, yeah, you name it. So they gave Tooele County Health Department a sum of money that a bunch of different community partners wrote for it. And our Health Rocks program was so good last year. It was phenomenal that I wanted to, and just taking that sharp data survey information from the Tooele County School District, you could see the kids jump drastically in some instances almost 100% in use from 6th to 8th grade. So I said, well, hey, if we can get these younger ages in, because they're already assuming what tobacco, alcohol, all that is, relationships are from their family, but also what they're seeing within the community, schools, billboards, even at an earlier age. If we can already target that even at a younger age, then hopefully we can reduce those numbers in Tooele County. So we wrote for the grant, and we got a significant amount of funding. So that's how Prevention Pals came along. We're just kind of aligning it with our Health Rocks kind of grant and how we run it. And so Prevention Pals is the same thing, but it's all online e-mentoring. So I've got a bunch of great mentors. We've been running it for the past few weeks now. We have the cutest kids online. They're just awesome. It's pumped to be there. I've signed my own child up for it, some of my friends' kids. And it's just fun for them to have that hour of we do a quick lesson, and then we do an activity. And you asked earlier, what do you do for homeschool kids? So I just drop the kits off. I'm in the process of just building monthly kits. This grant, Prevention Pals, will run through June 21 is when it's funded through. And so, yeah, it's just fun, literally.
So there's a kit that has the activity in it, the lesson, and then they can hop on Zoom, follow along, and all the stuff is right there in front of them.
Yep. So I'll run the lessons, and then we just have just like share time while we're doing the activity, and just the kids are great.
Lesson. When she says lesson, I'm thinking like, what is it, like a workbook or? a lecture, or I mean, how exciting can these little lessons be?
So I like to pick the language from the Health Rocks beginner curriculum for these children to gear it towards them having a good basis for so the lessons themselves are designed particularly in a particular order. I should start by saying that, to obviously deter alcohol, tobacco, and alcohol use, but it also is to help kids communicate better, to help kids build, like I was talking earlier, build healthy relationships, do good things in the community.
But do they like role play it or?
So we ask questions. I'll ask them questions so then they can do some good thought reasoning too. And then I might ask another person, well, what did you think about that comment? Or other kids might have ideas, or I'll just praise them because they're just so amazing, you know, and give them that positive, like, hey, you know what, you've obviously thought about this, or this is something you were taught. So maybe I'll just reiterate what they were taught, because sometimes kids listen better to other people than they do their parents.
Yeah.
And so it's almost really good to have
sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost sometimes good to have me also back up their parents, even though they don't realize that they're being praised for it. And so so yeah, it's just a big again, a lot of it's based on trust, building trust, not only within the group aspect, but again, positive relationship building. How are you gonna, what makes a good relationship? That was one of our lessons last week. And so each kid this week actually has a trust objective, whether it's a trust fall or a trust exercise that they want to do to build a healthier relationship with someone, or the other one was meet a new friend and just put yourself out there, and build a good relationship, and recognize what important factors of a friend are,
Red flags?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
for
also
sure.
that's a big one where they get out and gain that confidence of making a new friend.
Oh, absolutely. So there's a ton of that.
Yes. So you're working on, it's working on a couple different levels when you do stuff like that. I like it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some of those children who may be stuck at home may have to, I don't know how they're going to go make friends, but
yeah, you know what? It's interesting.
get on Call of Duty and in between cursing out the bad guy.
We have some of the kids who on Zoom sometimes in my older group, especially when we had some of those COVID shutdowns, they'll be like in club and then they'll be on their video game and you could see them in their little corner square, like just, or dancing, having a little dance it out session. I mean, these kids are amazing. They're so cute. Like,
That's great.
I love all their different little personalities, all their little walks of life. I just embrace anyone and everybody. I mean, that's just kind of how I am as a person. Anybody.
Well, it's not just that, but
So-
you even signed your own son up for it.
Oh,
So that's kind
yeah.
that's kind of showing that you have faith in it.
Oh, it's fantastic. And that's the thing. Yeah. He needs his little mentor person.
And
So-
this subject matter is not something that's normally taught in schools. Like, wouldn't it be great to teach our kids the non-aggression principle and why it's so important at a young age? Wouldn't it be great to understand the red flags of other people?
And how do you? Another hard part is, I don't know. Drugs weren't maybe they were a big part of my school when I went to school, and I just wasn't one of the cool kids that got invited to them. But how do you? It seems like school tears down a lot of confidence in children. Our current model of the school system, especially young men, it tears down a lot of confidence. They're not allowed to, be the busy young men they naturally are. And And so anything you can do to help gain that back is good. And then, honestly, I think this class needs to be taught to new parents.
Oh, it would be
That's
awesome.
if we wanted to make the biggest change in society, is to teach parents how to be functioning parents. That'd be the biggest change. Teach them to well, one, have more value in their marriage, and eating dinner with their children every night, and or breakfast. I don't know, pick a meal, but focusing on those things that are time tested and proven to aid in the development of the adolescent.
I agree. Communication's huge, and I think you're right. I think a little bit of how, not necessarily, I'm not going to say the school system, but just in general, I don't think kids are necessarily taught to express themselves or allowed to express themselves, certainly, and may have a tendency to hold things in. And so it's important to teach kids how to communicate and establish healthy boundaries. And that's one of the things that these programs really instill, as far as, this is my line in the sand and I'm okay with that. You're cool if you do that, but I'm not going to engage in that, and have a sense of ability to communicate their feelings, their fears, their thoughts, what's okay, what's not okay.
Especially verbally.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's texting nowadays, I've noticed. Every kid's down there trying to wiggle their thumbs a little bit.
Oh, what do you think? 20 years, we're not going to have language anymore.
Even kids that are hanging out are still texting the kids that they're hanging out with.
They do.
It's so ridiculous. It just cracks me up. I'm like, what's the point of hanging out if you're just going to still be head down in a phone? Like, go hike a mountain. Go throw your phones away for a while.
And I can't emphasize enough that it's noticeable all over the world that American kids have none of these skills. While you go to the Middle East and you watch people communicate. You go to Brazil, you watch people communicate. They have the certain eye contact, the hand gestures. They're providing so many more social and communication skills within their cultures that we are not providing.
Well, I'll bet that's going away there, because we've just had cell phones for 10 minutes longer. It's the cell phones.
You're probably right.
We're evolving. Right. We are evolving.
But we're at a point where we can actually witness the transition.
Yeah.
Well, I almost think it goes back to what Jared was saying earlier about just establishing that connection again with your family and your loved ones. It's common knowledge that even the producers and makers of all these high-tech knowledgeable things, they don't use them. They don't allow their own children to use them because they're geared towards addiction, and that's one of the things.
The smartest people on earth have designed these phones to where you don't put them down.
And there's a scientific relevance to the science behind it. They target the neurotransmitters in your brain, and it sends those, like, oh, I get so happy, and
the dopamine,
so every time
the endorphins,
everything,
they all start popping and
every
exploding.
time your beep goes off.
I'll tell you what,
phone.
it would be nice if the buttons would work on this sometimes. I've already found a flaw that froze my Facebook, so there's really nothing better than communicating by microphone and live stream, I guess.
Darn it.
I think we're seeing, if I was to just riff for a second, I think we're seeing the introduction to humanity becoming a cyborg. And right now it's not integral into us, but I imagine in the next 10 years there will be an implant where you slap your hip and it records what you're seeing, and you can do a dance in front of a mirror or something, whatever the trend. Right now the trend is videotaping yourself dancing or whatever, but it will be invented, then the trend will follow, and then it will reinforce the trend, just like it's been going on. But I think we're seeing the beginning of a cyborg relationship.
Oh, I sure hope not. I'm all about, once I'm off work and stuff, ditch my phone. I don't know.
It's unavoidable.
I love, but you're right. Like these kids, I think and that's the other stuff we hit home in these clubs too. Social media, all that, I mean, great. It's a great thing to utilize, but it doesn't have to involve you overutilizing it, right? Every
Yeah.
one of us love being able to connect with our friends from the East Coast, Midwest, Chicago, family members in the UK, whatever. But I mean, how much is too much? Should we really be allowing these kids to access these things? And that just puts that false sense of security in these kids. Even your elite or A-list people TikToking or tweeting or the following base, like how is it going to translate to you actually going to college and making something of yourself, or just whatever, or finding something that you love and making a living out of it.
How long do you think before there's a degree in a couple colleges that's an influencer degree?
Well,
I'm
what about
sure.
this? If you don't let your kids use this tool, how far behind the other kids will they be when they get out into the real world?
Or if they're on the just computers all the time, what's their social aptitude in the real world?
Well, that's how they meet nowadays. I've noticed this.
It's so weird to me.
Okay, when you go into the high schools, take a survey of the 15-year-olds that are excited to get their driver's license.
For what purpose? Like, I think all 15-year-olds aren't they? Wouldn't they
No,
be?
They don't care.
They don't.
Why? Why wouldn't
Yeah,
they
why
care?
wouldn't they care?
Because they meet through that. When we were kids, getting the driver's
That was
license,
a milestone.
that was
It was a
huge.
huge deal.
Yeah.
That was the big thing.
I think that's the only reason I had friends was because I had a car.
Like, yeah,
Well,
'cause I
it's-
was one of the oldest. I always drove everybody. Yeah.
It's not just that, but I mean, even when, like, I grew up in Grantsville, well, we would connect. If you wanted to do something that night, you would go hang out at the way station, and other people would come in and out of the way station, and that's where you'd find someone who was doing something that sounded exciting, whether it was just driving up and down the street, heading up the canyon, going to a party, whatever. You would just drive to a location and wait, and someone, and all your buddies all showed up there because that was the plan. We didn't have cell phones.
Right.
We rarely, if ever, called each other, because if someone didn't show up that night, that meant they were busy, and that was how you said no. So we'd show up, get our nachos, get our Mountain Dew, and then go do whatever we were going to do. It was a ritual.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, yeah, a lot of people are on social media or they're just hanging out on their computers, and it's maybe not the best thing for kids anymore. I wish they were more stoked about having that independence, right? I just think that.
But the computer is their independence.
Yeah, I don't know. And now with COVID, it almost shuts people inward more.
But
it promotes it.
It's been that
Yeah,
way. The driver's
exactly.
license has been that way. My son's 26. 10 years ago, he didn't really care that much.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big driver for him. Now, granted, he lived with his mom at the time, different situation. Since he got his driver's license, now it's a big deal to him. And there is a freedom with that.
Yeah.
But I've got friends who have children who are 15, 16, and almost all of them across the board. I mean, there's a certain subset where the activities, they really want to get their driver's license because that gives them freedom to go hunting by themselves and all these other things. But a lot of them are just like, well, okay.
Wow.
And they're
yeah.
getting their license because their parents are saying, you need to get your license.
That's kind of the boat I'm in. But my son's 14. He's going to be 15 in like October. So he'll get his permit. He's excited for it. But I'm excited too. Like, I can't wait for him to be 16. And hey, get yourself to practice. Get yourself to school. Get yourself.
Well, there's a lot to it.
Get a job. Well, that's the other thing too. I'm not one of the parents who can be like, oh, hey, I'm just going to give you gas money whenever you want it. You've got maintenance. You've got.
And
all
thank
that.
God for that, because there's so many parents.
Not going to hand them
So many parents
money.
that just let them do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it seems like they have unlimited resources straight from the wallet of the parent. And I'll tell you what, that
Doesn't
is going to
teach you
create a hazard in their life, because when you don't appreciate the dollar at this age, at this young age, you're behind when you get older.
Yeah.
That could be that could be a multitude of things that cause that. That could be the parent doesn't have time to manage that, so their time is best used just pulling, a $20 bill out every night. But either there needs to be some parenting reinforcement classes given. There really does, but where do you get, if they don't have time to do anything else, how do they have time to go to a class?
Most parents are working 2 jobs, both of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at our housing prices.
So then again, what's raising our kids? The electronics, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sadly.
And then when they do become of age, how are they going to ever afford a house out here? They can't.
No.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a reset on the economy, but that's for way smarter people than me. Let's go into how people can come in and sign up. So we've got some web pages.
Fantastic. Yeah, we sure do. I don't know if you've got any pulled up there.
Yes.
So there's ZSuite. Right there,
Okay.
ZSuite.org. And that's how you can sign up for, we're not necessarily taking on any more health
Now,
rockers
ZSuite-
this year.
This is also 4-H. So if your ZSuite is the 4-H one, so
Yep.
if you want to even get your child involved in the goat looking, adding, whatever part,
They do everything.
they have
Turkeys,
cooking, goats.
cooking classes, food classes.
I know they also do shooting. I used to
Nice.
teach muzzle loading for 4-H out at Dugway.
I teach chocolate, so if you're ever interested in learning about
Yeah,
chocolate,
he makes chocolate.
I can put you in touch with Sarah Patino. She's our food
Fancy
master.
chocolate.
Oh, we know Sarah.
Oh,
We know
Oh,
Sarah.
yeah, we know
We've had her
Sarah.
on the show.
Yeah, Sarah's been on the show.
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, she's in my
She
office.
talked.
She's
She
my
talked
state
about
coworker.
that. What she was doing. Yeah, Sarah's a great lady.
Yeah, she
But
is.
yeah, I used to teach some muzzle loading.
That's fantastic.
But anything livestock. It sounds like 4-H is really they'll if there's something that wants to be learned, they'll accommodate. They'll figure that out.
Absolutely.
And it helps out. But so we've got ZSuite, and that's if you want to sign up for 4-H.
Has all the different clubs. Once you set your sign up, it has all the different clubs you can register. And that's the thing. A yearly membership to 4-H is for our county members. I believe it's like $5 because and especially if you're a youth. So it's like $10 for your normal adult, I believe. But for the youth in our community, the county matches to get kids involved. And so it's only like $5. Some of the programs themselves have extracurricular costs.
Well, yeah,
but
if you got to buy a goat.
Yeah, but honestly, we try to keep it very affordable. All the different classes that I've seen offered, obviously my programs are free through my grants. But so it's just that like $5 or absolutely free because I've written in the grant or the funding through my grant. But once the kids are signed up with that $5, $10, they have the year in 4-H to join some of those other programs and some of those other clubs, which is pretty cool. So they have a lot of different opportunities available to them. I encourage all the kids that do the crafts with me to enter them into the county fair. So that way they can get ribbons, again, something to put on their resumes for future accolades achieved, that kind of thing.
Did they have a county fair this year?
You know what? They sure did.
Good.
It wasn't, so they shut down the county fair, but we still had children submit their projects in the different categories available. So then that way they could still get their ribbons and still participate. And plus, they still had the state fair. And so whoever won from our county fair was eligible to move on to the state fair. And so that was pretty nice. What we did is we made it COVID friendly. We have to write mitigation plans through the county and through Utah State University to get approval for any type of program we're running right now. That way we can track COVID. So sadly, we didn't have that. We didn't have that reach before. We obviously keep track anyway because of our funding efforts, and so we have to keep a detailed list. But it's, it's not too hard to do, once you get one plan down, but it's like a 12-page process. And so, I mean, just that way we keep everybody safe. But yeah, so they had all the kids, families across the county, just kind of, 6 feet apart, walk through our big auditoriums at the Tooele County Health Department so they could view the kids' artwork and do the show. So I think that actually was the only process of the county fair that happened last year. So it's amazing that we've been able to kind of break down some barriers as far as keeping things COVID safe. Like I was telling you, I've always been the type of person when someone's like, here's a wall, or no, told no. I'm like, oh, well, guess what? To me, that's just like a way of...
It's an invitation.
Yeah, it's an invitation to say, okay, well, we're going to get over this hill, and we're going to get over the mountain, climb, and succeed. And so I've just been, you just never know time to time when county, state, government's going to come and say, sorry, no, you can't do this, can't do that. Like, we've been really flexible. And that's another thing I give credit to my mentors. They have just been everybody, kids, mentors, so resilient. Like, I just can't even praise them enough for being so gracious and kind. And now that I can have in-person meetings again through my medication plans and mask wearing and all that, oh, these kids are stoked because these kids need the social.
They want it.
They
want to
need
get out.
the in-person.
Where is your in-person rally point usually?
So that's the thing. We usually should be in the school district, the schools, Tooele Junior High School. We wrote the e-mentoring prevention pals basically because of COVID through to just be online. Let's see. So then the health department says, sorry, we can only have 3 people in at a time to keep everybody safe, obviously. And then you've got COVID vaccines happening right now, which is great. And then, so I actually am a licensed massage therapist by trade, and I have some office space that I rent through the county, and I also obviously wrote my mitigation safety plan through the county. So I wrote it to have my club at my office here locally, so then that way the kids can come and we can still engage in safe, awesome club stuff. So it's been
pretty cool.
Fun to have the kids, because I couldn't stand having the 6 feet apart, only 3 people at a time.
What about down
the whole
at the
idea,
county building? So
that was what I was saying.
Is that available to you down there? The big county?
So that's where I am. That is where I am at. So that's where my office, the extension office, is located in the health department. And so,
well, I mean the county fair,
the government
building, the T-wall building down at the rodeo grounds.
Oh, I never thought about asking
That's a different one than I
about.
was thinking of.
That's just a big open building. You could spread 50 people out 6 feet.
You know,
apart
that's not a bad idea. Oh gosh, I have some friends who run the horse stuff out there, so it might not be a bad idea even to do something out that way. But I didn't know the county owned that stuff over there.
And I know the Tooele MWR, the Eagle's Nest. I don't know if you've ever been out there, but they have a huge auditorium type room.
They do.
And I
We
bet
do
you
our
if you were to
Rocky
tell them
Mountain
it was
Foundation
for
stuff
that
out
kind
there.
of an event, I bet you they might respond.
But you know what? Some of it's nice. So my location with my massage office is nice because it's right near the high school. And so if I have my walking kids who are in the area, it's just easy for them just to come right over, and safe that way as far as like that walking aspect. Because most of the kids in the Health Rocks program are within walking distance of the junior high and high school. So for
That's
safety
important,
reasons, it's kind of nice. I mean, over at the rodeo grounds would be good too. I never even thought about that, or I just kind of figured. And I don't like to necessarily put people out. I'm just a go-getter and doer, so I figured they approved my plan.
The building's
So,
closed most of the time.
Yeah.
It's unoccupied. But I don't know. I'm not sure if it's a county building still, but it used to be.
A lot of government
Gotcha.
space is usually not being utilized, but we're paying for it. And that's a shame because
Shocking.
Well, and the thing is
It
too,
sucks.
like then I'd even if they'd make me pay rent or some that would just I wouldn't have the
Yeah.
funding for that. So
Well, if the county could step in through it,
I don't
and
know
help out,
if they
but
would. So
that's a question. And
maybe you
that's
should run for office.
no, thank you. No, thank you. I like to kind of just fly under the radar. I'm that kind of gal. I like to do my things and
well, we got a couple more websites to help people out real quick.
awesome.
We have a Facebook link. This is the Utah State USU Utah State University Health Extension Tooele County, and this is another one that they can link into finding you through. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go down right there, there's our Prevention Pals recruitment.
Prevention Pals.
Right there. So 4th, 5th, and 6th graders.
This picture lies. There's no trees around. It should be.
It's just
shrubs.
showing a mentor with the mentee
But
and
yes.
that positive relationship. And you'll notice that the ZSuite link is up there.
Yeah.
So that's cool. If you go down further, though, so the health and wellness, I work on a few different grants, too, besides just the youth programs. But the youth programs, I'm really trying to get more recruitment. I'm taking on more mentors and mentees in that program. If you go back up, Light to Remember, that's basically Recovery Day, recognizing people's recovery efforts in the community or highlighting and respecting the individuals lost to substance and alcohol use. So we really want to encourage people to attend that I believe it's September is National Substance Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And then we actually have some pain education classes coming up. So that's kind of nice. I really encourage more people to join our Facebook page because I actually wrote the Peace Grant. That's a support group for pain management coming up. So that's kind of cool.
What's pain management?
The Peace Grant itself, obviously, like I was telling you guys that I'm a massage therapist by trade, along with being a health educator. So PEACE stands for Pain Education and Community Empathy. And so that's kind of fun. So what it is we basically it'll be a 12-week session because people like to be motivated to come and do well on a very just on a regulated basis. So they'll be taught real quickly each week a homeopathic way of treating pain, basically.
Oh, to try to help out with maybe the
pain management in
opiate,
conjunction with obviously
to try to eliminate the need for opiate use or
Yep, exactly. Or even just maybe even their chronic pain issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's sore backs, hands, you name it. So obviously we want to work in conjunction with their doctors in Western medicine, but just give them more tools to utilize to help them manage their pain, their daily chronic pain.
Did you just say they're doctors in Western medicine?
So
I
So
should have walked into a curio confectionery where there's a whole bunch of wooden drawers and you're going to give me like oil of newt or toad tongue.
Eastern medicine would be more your newt and your tongue stuff.
Well, yeah,
your herbs,
but
your
when you say
oils.
doctors of Western medicine,
So-
that I've only ever heard that from
Doctors of Eastern Medicine?
doctors of Eastern, well,
Right.
witch doctors of Eastern medicine or profound hippies.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
And yes, I know you're a profound hippie.
I'm a kind of profound hippie who also hunts and loves the outdoors
Yeah,
greatly.
You've graduated to middle ground hippie. But yeah, and we've got another one up here. And again, all these links will be in the show notes. We'll just have the hyperlinks in there so that you can just dive right into it. So here we've got the USU Extension Tooele County Office actual website.
And that link is found in the Facebook Health Extension page too.
Or just go to the show notes. If you want to sign your child up or ask to see how you can aid, just hit the show notes, and all that stuff will be in there. We'll also have a link if you want to get a hold of Emily directly.
Yeah, I give my cell phone out to everybody. I'm pretty available most of the time, and
so we can put her cell phone number up there as well.
And then you guys can always reach me at my emily.hamilton@usu.edu email. So happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, and we'll put her email up there if you do have, if you do want to sign anyone up, or you have a student that you think could use this assistance.
And how many slots do you have available?
So I have tons more in Prevention Pals. So we got off to a little bit of a late start. So I literally have probably 50 more spots available for Prevention Pals for the youth mentees. And I still have another good 17 spots for mentors. So I already have 7 mentors in Prevention Pals, and they're fantastic. And I already have a group of youth. Obviously, I signed my son and some of his friends up, but also people in the community are starting to catch on. And and if they do sign their youth up, we are giving away 2 free admission tickets to any type of I don't know what you call it, like venue at Thanksgiving Point, because they've got the butterfly exhibit, they've got the dinosaur
ocean
museum.
One, don't they?
I can't remember.
I don't know. They've got all
They just did
sorts of stuff.
Luminaria, like was the lights, the Christmas lights. They've got the cute little flower tulip festival with all the cute baby lambs and things.
And if you're down in that area, you can go to Cabela's and see the fish.
Heck yeah!
You ever go to the aquarium in there?
Yeah,
that's free too
Yeah.
to go
it's
look at.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah,
it's kind of tough to go in there when you're a person who likes to fish.
Yep, I agree. I agree.
They put the tackle right here, the fish right there. Just
it's an educational experience.
But
I would say.
it is quite cool.
So yeah, we're offering those tickets right now just as an incentive. Obviously, it's like a $60 free gift, basically. And again, something you can do with your family, or your child. And yeah, so that's kind of cool.
That's great. Yeah. So, and then we don't have a lot of youth listeners to this show.
No, I'm sure
Not enough flashing lights and twerking. I've been trying to get Dave to twerk to.
I got a bad back, Jared.
Oh man,
I got a bad back.
Did you see that young lady recently who got the world record, or the Guinness Book of World Record? She can hula hoop with her butt. It was a thing.
Huh?
Yeah, like her butt. She can actually.
Oh, the sideways.
Yeah, like isn't that an amazing, impressive feat? I was kind of intrigued.
You know how much training that probably takes?
That's what I'm saying. Like that is some serious muscle, eccentric muscle.
Takes a lot of butt to probably do that too.
Yes, but I mean, just to come up with it, like no one's put that in the Guinness Book of World Records, so kind of cool. I don't know. Go kid.
Stars are in her eyes.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Or his eyes. I shouldn't say her.
Yeah, I think
could
it's
be
a
him.
female, but I don't know. Yeah. I just think it's cool that kids out there are bored enough to try new things and try and make new world records.
Right. And it might not even be a him or a her. It could be a water cooler.
Oh, that'd be
I
an
don't know.
interesting study. How many water cooler? You're
People
gonna
are
get us in
bored.
trouble.
They get creative.
Yeah,
you
how
know?
many Guinness World Records are going to come out of this shutdown?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you just never know. At least they're not on their
That'd be an
computers,
interesting-
maybe.
I'm
They're
gonna-
out there trying something new, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to write a grant to study this.
It'd be cool. I'm just saying.
I can't type, so if I've got to type up 12 pages.
You know what the saddest thing that I've heard today about all this shutdown is? Because of the shutdown, people are not out meeting, encountering, dating, and making babies. So we talk about the lives lost, but we don't talk about the lives that could have been. And it's estimated to be like 80 million human years that we've lost in babies just not being
Easy.
created because of this lockdown.
Easy. Bill Gates is getting turned on from your words right now.
You know, it's kind of interesting you present that. It will be interesting to see the national birth rate total, like in the next few years, to see where it coincides with actually, well, the death rate obviously is going to be exponential because of COVID, sadly. But even with people not working,
I seriously want
the
to see.
working force.
I seriously want to see the aggregated death rates, because you don't hear about any other kinds of death right now.
I've heard of a bunch, but you're right, though. A lot of people, I've heard that there's funding given towards just because they can write COVID on a death certificate.
Yeah, well, there were in Colorado, a guy died from a gunshot wound, and it was listed as a COVID death.
I would be livid. To me, that's that goes against your oath as a physician, right? To do no harm, or to, I mean, people.
That's more the hospital administration
Yeah,
staff.
I don't.
They don't take an
sure.
oath.
I don't think the
I
physician. Well,
wasn't
they
sure.
do.
Yeah,
They
I
take an
feel
oath.
like they
I
should.
will get every goddamn dime out of them that I want. That they take a definite oath. Yes.
I'll memorize the number to the insurance company.
Yes, but anyways, so go to our, if you want to get involved in this, if you need this type of assistance, go to the show notes, look at the links. If you want to help out, even if you're just curious,
Yeah.
go look at the links. 4-H has always been a pretty impressive program. I know it's lost a lot of ground lately because it seems like the movement that was around even 30 years ago with getting involved in school activities that had extracurricular value that wasn't sports has kind of died off, and I think it'd be nice to see some of those things come back. I like the idea that if a child is interested in something, they can seek. There's a place they can seek it out, and and it's a good free market plan. If there's a need or a desire, we'll fill it.
Absolutely. And it's amazing. We're still up and running certain clubs right now. I know some things are having a little bit of a setback because of COVID, but it's just good to keep your kids engaged in things. There's some really good numbers that show if they're engaged, if they're involved, they have good friends, support system, they're less likely to drink, do drugs, or smoke. And so we want to just, I mean,
and they don't have time to do that.
And
Drop them off at a club.
It's a community effort,
I think
it's
it'd be
not just based on parents. It's instilling what hopefully parents are teaching and taking that to the next level of community engagement and service. And
how much fun would it be if, like I'm looking at a cooking class would actually kind of, I would have probably balked at it at that age, but now I'm looking back, it would have been fun to take a cool cooking class that I could have used.
Well, even if you just teach someone how to fish, they can feed themselves, right? That goes back to kind of that theory.
Teach them
and
how
then
to
they can
fish,
teach
and
somebody else how to fish.
then they'll be broke the rest of their
This is
life.
this is how you increase the IQ points of our children in the next generation, is by providing them these kind of services.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, and it makes them well-rounded people. But Emily, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Thanks so much.
I
yeah.
sure appreciate
Anytime.
it.
Dave, you got any other questions for Emily before we cut her loose?
I would just like to tell Emily, thank you very much for providing this kind of a service to our community.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks,
definitely.
guys. All my efforts are thankful to these mentors and what they put into the mentees and creating and building those good, solid relationships that a lot of people are kind of deprived of right now. So, but thank you. I appreciate it.
We have such a high depression and suicide rate in Tooele County.
Do we really?
Oh, it's
I
bad.
think we do.
It is very bad, sadly.
And you're doing your part to
Yeah.
help curb
Good
that.
vibes only. We're all about spreading the good vibes, and I suggest anyone who is suffering, or I'm happy to uplift anybody, help out to give anyone support. So reach out. However, obviously, that's just the person in me, but also the health education aspect. There's always support in this world for any person of any walk in life. And we're actually getting more services out in Tooele County as we speak. One of the other grant I'm on is a NAS grant too. So we
What is that?
neonatal abstinent substance grant. We're hopefully
That's
reducing
pregnant ladies
Mm-hmm.
using
Any
substances.
types, yeah. So we really want to just reduce stigma to that population and just get people medically assisted treatment and help them become better humans, better moms. Obviously, just because just reduce the stigma associated. We just want to encourage people to just be good people, and get a medically assisted treatment and help them. Just because.
Yeah, that's. I think that's really important. I've
So-
witnessed an infant life flighted due to
But there's help out there, is what
addiction.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Even for the moms, even for the infants, it doesn't have
Well,
to
that's
be
where
just.
you need the help is for
Yeah.
the mom.
We wanna gear, and it just it's a different mindset once a life's involved, and and I feel a lot of people feel alone in that process.
Which is probably why they use, because they do feel alone. They do feel isolated. They do,
And some of it's the addiction process of
Oh,
the
yeah.
disease, too. And we just want to know that there's new rules out there. There's new ways of getting support to help you and your infant have the best possible outcome. And so that's another aspect of a grant out there. But I always want to encourage that, when you feel like you're at your lowest, please just know that there's always help. Someone's been there. It's not worth you taking your life, because people will miss you. People love you. Somebody loves you always, and someone will be your cheerleader. And so I just want to be that pillar in the community, even though I like to fly under the radar.
she's the
It's respectable.
she's the pillar in the back of the room in the shadows.
Just come talk to me after class.
Yeah.
And I will help you however I can, or find help. Or there's lots of services, not just in Salt Lake anymore, that are coming here, or they're already available.
Good.
Aside from just reach out to the extension. If you need or want anything, there's probably a place we can send
Well, and
you
that's
or
how
get
we
you the
get-
help.
That's how we get more services. Is need. Gotta show the need.
And Emily, you run a business
Yeah.
in this county.
Yeah.
Why don't you
small
plug your business?
Yeah, let's plug the business.
You know what? So I'm working a lot more full time. It's Excellence in Elevation Massage. So I've cut back my massage practice now that I'm working more full time at the extension office. So I
Okay.
just have
So
my
is it like appointment?
set. Yeah,
special-
so I'm word of mouth really only, and I don't even take on it. It's appointment only. Yeah.
Okay. And that's
So-
elevate. What is?
Excellence in Elevation Massage. I have a.
So in other words,
Facebook
she's
page.
booked, she's busy.
Yeah,
and good luck getting in.
Yeah, so it's just on a per you're already been a client, or I'm sorry, I've probably passed you along because I've already just kept a set amount of clients at this stage just to supplement my income. But you know what though, being a massage therapist has taught me so much, but also the relationships I build with my clients are very dear and special to me too. A lot of my clients are more like family than just, money, and thank goodness for my education too, so I can help people in so many different aspects of emotional health, physical health, nutrition. So I don't know. It's just fun. I love a majority of my clients very dearly, and I am very thankful for everybody who supports me and my little family, and just people helping people. I just want to encourage that. It's a beautiful thing.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And yeah, so go to the show notes. The links will all be in there, and
Get your kids signed up. Get them moving. Get them doing stuff.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
we will have tie-ins on the Facebook page
Appreciate
on the
it.
happy hour so that everyone can seek it out and find it. Thank you for coming
I
in.
appreciate you guys. Thank you. It was so lovely
Yes.
to meet you all.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I appreciate you. Thanks, Facebook world. And I guess other outlets.
Yeah, it'll end up being on